the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Arts Barbershop. R&R Auto.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Turn 3 Racing Network. As tonight, we are here for the Mighty Midget 161, the Dan Dubuque Memorial, presented by Hansen's Starter Shop. Thank you very much for joining me here at Lanier. My name is K.R. Stolfus, and I will be your host all night long. And the person with all the knowledge about everything going on with Upstate Racing League, he's going to fill you in on all the stuff I make up while I do this, and that is Kelly Dahl.
Yeah, usually seems to be them kind of left filling in the gaps here, but it's kind of odd being on the other end of, you know, someone filling in the gaps. But I guess there's something I have to know, and a small league in iRacing, something.
Well, there you go. And Kelly, quite a close battle on the points here as we are getting ready to roll into the final 2 weeks. 3 races remain as I hit the wrong button there. So we're going to wait just a moment on showing the points. But Kelly, while I do this, why don't you find something to talk about and fill in a gap?
Yeah, like you said, there is a huge battle in points, not just at the top though, but also just outside of the chase, because we have an award with the Upstate Racing League called the Best of the Rest. And because last week Chris Stump had an early exit, it really brought in a couple of other drivers. Al Smith Jr. now only 3 points back. He was our Best of the Rest winner from the 2019-2020 season. And then there's Matthew Barkhouse, just 12 points back, and even Matthew McLean, just under 30 points back. And with 3 races left in the season, those guys can get themselves into that Best of the Rest award.
As qualifying has gotten underway, the 65 machine of Jay Dubuque making his way around this Lanier Speedway. And Jay in that 65 right now sitting at a 14.24. Dylan Canova in the 70 right now on top of the leaderboard with the fastest time so far.
And Dylan Canova running the exact same lap that he ran in practice, 13.449. That's going to be our fastest for the time being, but next group is out on track. That is a Speedy Brissett, Justin McDuff, AJ Hamill. I believe that is actually just the 3. Oh no, there's the 4th. I knew that I saw a 4th car go out, and that's Brian Rogers in the 12, and none of them yet able to get after that 13.449 from Dylan Canova.
AJ Hamill in the 18 machine and Justin McDuff in the 20 are 2 chase contenders for the moment, and this one is the 20 machine going to lock it down as he spins around in front of Speedy Brissett. Hamill does move to the top of the leaderboard.
AJ Hamill pretty much tying Dylan Canova as well with a 13.449, so that would go to the 4th digit, and on my timing screen not even displayed. So extremely close times between the 18 and the 70, but we may see that time fall yet as we still have a few more cars to go through.
Matt Eddy in the 87 machine making his way out onto the track all the way from Sanford, Michigan. Eddy being joined by Jeremy Watkins in the 77 and Justin Smith in the 45 making his way out there.
If anyone's able to get after that 13.449, Matt Eddy's the closest so far to this group, 13.471, just behind Dylan Krybeck at this point. Now going to cross the line on his second lap. Going to beat Drew Krybeck, but not able to beat Canova or Hamill. 13.455 for Matt Eddy. Again, at the same exact time as he ran in practice, so just like Dylan Canova.
So some very quick times being laid down here, but we have 24 cars here tonight, and the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre making his way out onto the speedway. He will be joined by the 7 of Jeremy Carpenter and the 64 of Andrew Plank.
We'll have to see what McIntyre is going to be able to accomplish along with the rest of these guys in this qualifying group. Still hunting that 13.449 of Hamill and Canova. Now crossing line, Jimmy McIntyre. He's going to go up there towards the top, just sitting in 4th right now with a 4.63. So these groups are going to get faster as we go on.
So Carpenter in the 7 machine right now, finding himself in 9th place. So 2 of our chase contenders have posted a time, but the rest of them waiting for their opportunity to roll on out. And we're going to have our next group start to roll out, and that includes the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse.
And the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse, the 88 of Matt McLean, the 96 of Al Smith Jr., and the 39 of Bill Martin. So we're going through these qualifying groups quickly, and we are getting into some very, very fast drivers.
Al Smith in the 96 machine, and everybody from his team all sharing very similar paint schemes here tonight. So if it gets a little tricky to call this race because of that, just know it's all in good fun.
I believe they are all running tributes to the late Dan Dubuque, who passed away just over a year ago, and as mentioned, as kind of iterated by Al Smith Jr. before the race we started qualifying, he is missed by us all. But getting back to the action, Matthew Barkhouse and Bill Martin both go to the top of the leaderboard. Matthew Barkhouse sitting down a 13.386, so first one to get into that 0.3 barrier.
A very quick time by the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse. Bill Martin pulling in his NARF 39 machine. Next group of drivers starting to roll out. And that is going to be the 13 of Guillaume Fortin, Brian Hacker in the 11 machine, AJ Rogers in his 17, and Trey Edson in the 25.
Yeah, and Edson just getting out of the racetrack as Guillaume comes around turns 1 and 2 on his first flying lap. A very small speedway here, just over a third of a mile. You're able to get around this track very quickly. Guillaume not quite getting the fastest time he would like there. Brian Hacker, though, he gets 13.440. He goes up into 3rd place.
Hacker laying down a quick lap time in that 11 machine. AJ Rogers in the 17 as he crosses the start finish line. He's going to stay, he moves up to 14th. So Rogers with a good second effort there. Trey Edson going to put himself in 9th place for the moment. Final 4 cars starting to roll out.
Our last 4 cars is going to be Justin Fuller, Joe Schaefer Jr., Gareth Gonder, and Mike Alexander. So really some of our fastest guys throughout the whole season. Like our top 3 in the championship are on the track right now. So I'm expecting to see the fastest time that's currently set to fall at some point.
Mike Alexander coming off his first win last week as Justin Fuller moves up into 4th place. Joe Schaefer Jr. in the 6th, gonna take pole position away. Alexander into 4th, and Gareth Gonder in the 181 machine. Right now, he is in 9th spot.
Yeah, but the big thing is there will be an invert. So Joe Schaefer Jr., he is going to get the fastest qualifying time as our last driver comes across the line, but that means he will be starting in 8th once we get to the main event.
So Schaefer with a 13.35, laying down the fastest lap here tonight as qualifying is done and over with. Very quick time by Joe Schaefer in that 6.
Yeah, actually faster than the time he ran in practice. faster than anyone had run in practice. Matthew Barkhouse had been our fastest driver during the pre-race practice with a 13.372. So Joe Schaefer Jr. beats that by 0.02 of a second.
All right, so with qualifying over, we are now going to move on into our LCQ, and this is a last chance qualifier where we're just really going to race for position.
Yeah, everyone will make it here. We don't have enough drivers to hit our cutoff point where we start sending guys home, so this will just be kind of a bit of practice for these guys. Just only 12 laps, which will go by very quickly here, so we should probably get into our starting lineup, KR.
Guillaume Fortin in the 13 on the inside of row number 1. On his outside, the 17 of AJ Rogers. Row number 2 going to be the 12 of Brian Rogers. On his outside, the best of the rest contender, that is the 96 of Al Smith Jr. Row number 3 in the 7 machine, that is Jeremy Carpenter, and on his outside, scheduled to start in the 77 machine, that is Jeremy Watkins. Row number 4 going to be Justin Smith and Andrew Plank, and Jay Dubuque in the 65 lining up at the tail of this grid here tonight.
We're all just waiting on the 77 of Jeremy Watkins to get out onto the grid, and they will be rolling for this LCQ, as mentioned. Just going to be for starting position and just the last few starting positions, but kind of gives these guys a bit of a heads up on what racing is going to be like here at this track tonight, because they do have about 40 minutes, or sorry, I think it's a bit long, a bit shorter than 40 minutes. I think it's only 30 minutes of practice before the race, but it's not quite the same as a race situation. You're not going to have people defending the same way as they would in a race situation. So this kind of gives them an idea of what to expect for the main event and may give them a bit of an advantage as well.
Yeah, we have seen a few drivers come out of the LCQ and then march their way forward all night long, but you just never quite know what's going to happen.
So the 77 will miss start and will likely start the main event from the tail end of the field. We get rolling here, and going to be the 13 of Guillaume Fortin going to lead them to the line for what I expect to only really be about 5 minutes of racing.
5 minutes for 12 laps?
Probably even less, yeah. It's
Some
basically
very
going to
quick,
be a short sprint for these guys.
right? It is going to go extremely quickly, and one little mistake could cost you a either a mid-pack to a tail end of the longest line kind of situation.
Essentially, but coming off of turn 3, or coming off turn 3 going into turn 4 now, pace car going to go down and away. Green flag going to come out, and the 13 of Guillaume Fortin going to lead this field to the line and into turn 1. He's going to get a good launch and get right ahead of that 17 of AJ Rogers, who immediately slots down, and Guillaume gets loose off of 2, but still holds on to the lead.
Brian Rogers in the 12 to the inside of the 96 of Al Smith. They're going to go side by side into turns 1 and 2. Smith on that outside lane, though, he made it stick, and Brian Rogers slots into 4th place.
You can see how loose these cars are on cold tires. Pretty much everyone kind of fishtailing out of the corner as they try to get the power down as fast as they can, but Guillaume Fortin holding off the rest of the field so far and not quite opening up much of a gap over AJ Rogers, who's really having to defend over the 96 of Al Smith.
The 65 of Jay Dubuque got loose coming off of turn number 4, went for a spin as the 77 of Jeremy Watkins made his way out onto the racetrack. So Watkins under power now, I shouldn't say rejoining, but joining this race, but with 8 laps to go, Guillaume out in front, and he has the 17 behind him, and it looks like this 13 for the moment has some breathing room.
He's kind of running up a little bit higher than everyone else through the corner, at least through 1 and 2. 3 and 4, he's actually getting down lower than a lot of these guys. So he's running a bit of an interesting line. This time now, he is going to get very low through 1 and 2, dipping 2 tires below the dotted yellow line to try to get him just a little bit more turning. We see these guys just kind of a 4-car breakaway from the rest of the field, with Brian Rogers chasing down Al Smith, who's chasing AJ Rogers, going after Guillaume Fortin.
13, 17, 96, 12, and a 45. Your top 5 right here. Justin Smith in that 45 machine, rounding out your top 5. Then it's Andrew Plank in the 64. Jeremy Watkins has moved into 7th spot as Jeremy Carpenter and Jay Dubuque have found trouble here in this LCQ. So Watkins in the 77, even though he started this race 3 laps down, he has made his way out on the track and gained a couple spots.
Yeah, I think that's just a product of how hard these cars are to control on the cold tires, sorry. But there is a gap that's really diminishing between the 13 and the 17. Rogers getting right up to 410, but white flag in the air. I don't think Rogers is going to have enough time.
Yeah, the 13 machine finding himself out in front. AJ Rogers, unless he sends it sailing with a hope and a prayer, not going to be able to reel in that 13. And off of turn number 4, Guillaume going to win our last chance qualifier here. AJ Rogers celebrates in style that 2nd place finish. Al Smith finishing in 3rd. 4th goes to Brian Rogers. 5th, Justin Smith. Andrew Plank 6th, 7th. And then it's all gone. It's gone. It's wiped out as we get into our warm-up time here. And that means we're going to step away for the national anthems of both Canada and the United States. And we're going to kick it off with Canada, guys. Join us as we honor both countries here tonight.
The
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. butt kicker. The future is feeling.
Kabang Energy Candy contains 100% of vitamins B6, B12, and C, plus ginseng. And the best part is, no caffeine. Kabang Energy Candy is sold everywhere, including participating Walgreens. Kabang Energy Candy, it's Bangalicious.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by M&M Country Store, Dr. Noy's Custom Paint and Diecast, Coach's Corner, Kabang Energy Candy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we are here in a warm-up for the final few moments at Lanier for the Mighty Midget 161, the Dan Dubuque Memorial, presented by Hanson's Starter Shop, and Brian Hacker in the one spot on the speed charts. That 11 machine going to the pits to reset. Trey Edson in the 25 machine, finding himself in a second spot. But this warm-up session about ready to end, and we're gonna start switching over here into our race format. So before we do, let's go ahead, take a little bit of a peek at our race information here tonight. Beautiful weather as always for this Upstate Racing League Mighty Midget 161. Top 5 finishers from last week's Carpenter Tax Service: Mike Alexander, Justin Fuller, Joe Schaefer, Gareth Gonder, and Brian Hacker. And you know what? A lot of these guys qualifying very well here tonight. So with all of that being said, let's get right into our starting lineup for this one. On the inside of row number 1, due to the 8-car invert, that is the 70 of Dylan Canova. On his outside is AJ Hamill in the 18 machine. Justin Fuller, Brian Hacker on row number 2. Row number 3 will be Mike Alexander and Bill Martin. Row 4 will be Matthew Barkhouse and Joe Schaefer Jr. setting quick time here tonight. Row number 5, Gareth Gonder in the 181 and Matt Eddy on his outside. Row number 6, I'll get it right here, Jimmy McIntyre and Drew Krybeck on the outside. Row number 7 will be Trey Edson, Matt McLean. Row 8 will be Justin McDuff and Speedy Brissett. Row 9, Guillaume Fortin and AJ Rogers. Row number 10 will be Al Smith and Brian Rogers. Row 11, Justin Smith and Andrew Plank. And our final few spots here tonight will be Jeremy Watkins and Jeremy Carpenter, with Jay Dubuque in the 65 at the tail end of this one. And here we go, green flag coming out as this one gets underway. 110 laps here at Lanier.
Yeah, Dylan Canova commanding the lead right now. AJ Hamill stuck on that high side, looking for a place to go, but Justin Fuller taking advantage of that, trying to keep himself ahead of Mike Alexander, one of his main championship contenders, and trying to chase after Dylan Canova. That 18 of Hamill looking for a way to get to that faster bottom line, but still holding his own on the outside. It's just behind them. The 39 of Bill Martin dives to the bottom as soon as he found a gap.
Canova setting the fastest lap of the race. We're going to see if that holds true or if they're going to go even faster, but a 13.53 for Canova right now, being the purple time, if you will.
Yeah, but Justin Fuller not letting him get away. And oh, the caution is going to come out here as we have a spinner in turn 3. That looks to be Justin McDuff.
Chase contender in the 20 machine getting in trouble here very early on. The 12 got into the 13, the 13 got into the 20, and McDuff going to end up the worse for the wear in this situation.
Yeah, that 20 car has not had any sort of luck during the chase. I don't think the 20 could buy himself luck at this point, as all 3 of these chase races have pretty much ended up with him in the wall early on, and now McDuff, yeah, he is going to take it behind the wall, realizing his luck is not changing this week.
And take one more look at this one as we go on board. You can see Kryback in the 12 got into Guillaume, and the snowball effect or accordion effect or whatever you want to call it effect put that 20 machine behind the wall on pit road here very early.
That is going to shake things up front, because we saw that 18 of AJ Hamill struggle on the outside lane. He actually only lost a couple of positions. He's still going to be on the outside of row 2, but this may open up an opportunity for Mike Alexander to get around Fuller, and there's only 11 points separating Fuller and Alexander in the chase for the championship.
Yeah, and just 3 races left to decide this championship if you count tonight's race. We have a doubleheader next week, February 4th, to round this one out. Make sure you stay tuned in for that one. It is going to be quite the event, as it always is with the Upstate Racing League. Lights are out on the pace car, Kelly.
That pace car is going to pull down and away, and it's going to be in the hands of Dylan Canova. Gets a good launch, but so does that 51 of Fuller. Pretty much guessed it exactly, and he's going to get right on the bumper, slotting himself down into the inside. He's going to actually take a little peek on the inside on the back straightaway, just not enough of a run. And AJ Hamill, he's still stuck on that high side and going to move backwards in the field, but you've got Justin Fuller really challenging for the lead, with Mike Alexander not letting him get away.
We go on board with AJ Hamill. As you can see, he is in this outside lane, and Bill Martin in the 39 taking a move to the inside. Bill Martin gonna slide up in front of the 18, and Hamill just hoping for a chance to get down, but the yellow flag going to come out.
And that looks like to be the 13 of Guillaume Fortin getting turned sideways off of turn 2. Actually, no, looks like he got himself loose off of turn 2, just a bit of a self-spin. Little tap against the wall, so pretty much no damage to that 13 machine, except for really the damage he'll do to his tires and his racing position, as well as he goes all the way back to the tail end of the field.
All right, so 2 very quick cautions coming out here as we're on lap 14 of 110. A lot of our chase contenders having problems here tonight, Kelly. Justin McDuff behind the wall, and Guillaume Fortin just went for a spin. Now he finds himself at this very long line.
And Fortin came in tonight 4th place in the chase standings, 25 points back, so really still in the hunt for the championship if he had a good finish tonight. But if he keeps himself towards the tail end of the field, he's essentially going to eliminate himself 1 week early.
So Dylan Canova on the inside for this restart. Justin Fuller going to be on his outside. Then it's Mike Alexander and Matthew Barkhouse. Then the 39 of Bill Martin and the 18 of AJ Hamill. Those are your first 3 rows as they get ready to line up for this restart. And Kelly, some quick spins here. You talked about these cars being a little bit loose.
Yeah, they're definitely loose on cold tires, and with the amount of cautions we've had, we haven't had time for really to get the tires to get up to temperature, so these guys are still going to be struggling for grip, especially on corner exit when they're trying to put the power back down to the racetrack, because there's a lot of power behind these cars, and it's only connected to your right foot. There is nothing holding you back from spinning those rear tires.
We're going to ride on board with this restart as the 65 of Jay Dubuque takes us around. Pace car down and away, and Jay gonna stab the throttle as this field gets rolling once again. A great nose shot from Jay Dubuque as the 13 of Guillaume Fortin is gonna have to try and work his way forward. He gets underneath the 77 of Jeremy Watkins.
But Justin Fuller, he got to the inside on the back straightaway of Dylan Canova. Now they're going to battle side by side into turn 1, and the 51 looks like he's going to come away with the race lead. Dylan Canova to second. He's got to get himself down before that 75 machine gets there, and he does slot himself back to the bottom line. Now taking a look to the inside, but backing off before he makes a dive on Justin Fuller.
So the 51 machine out in front here on lap 20, picking up 4 wins so far this season. Fuller trying to tear through and get another championship, another win. And if he gets a 5th win here tonight, it's going to be a heck of a fight for the rest of these guys to catch up to him.
Caution out once again, this time for the 81 of Gareth Gonder. Pretty much a mirror image of what happened to the 13 of Guillaume Fortin, just getting loose off of turn 2 and spinning towards the inside wall with a light tap. So that 81 machine, or sorry, 181 machine should be able to keep going.
Taking one more look at the 81 as he worked behind the 87 of Matt Eddy, but gonna go around down the backstretch. Little tap to that inside wall. Already pointed in the right direction and rolling once again before the pace cars even pulled out of pit lane.
Yeah, so just a light spin for that 181 machine. He'll be able to get back going, but this will shake up the front once again, as these restarts have really been what's been deciding this race so far. As Justin Fuller had a fantastic start on that last time, was able to get to the inside of Dylan Canova. Now we're going to see if Canova will be able to do the same thing, and just behind them we've had Mike Alexander and Bill Martin climb up into the inside the top 5. So watch for that 75 and 39 machine, especially that 39. Martin has been looking to kind of turn things around after the first week of the chase kind of put him a little bit further back. He's still sitting 46 points back of the lead, but I'm sure he would love to have a good, strong finish tonight.
The Dr. Noise butt cam cordially invites you to donate for the Native American rights at narf.org. You know what, as long as we've been doing this with Bill Martin, I'm not sure, I'm surprised about the butt cam idea.
Definitely not really out of left field when it comes to Bill Martin. Definitely kind of fits the rest of his car and the rest of his personality. But lights are out on the pace car, and we are double file once again. And Dylan Canova going to be able to take the fight back to Justin Fuller.
All right, so here we go. Fuller, Canova, green flag, and we are back underway. Fuller got a huge jump in the 75 of Mike Alexander, looking to go back to back. He's trying to take over second spot.
Yeah, Canova did not have a good start on that outside lane, and now trying to fight back on the high side. Got the power down a little bit better off of turn 3. Not quite clear of the 75 though, as Alexander just wants to hold off on the inside. That inside lane will definitely become the more dominant lane as these guys get a bit more grip, and he's able to kind of keep the power down throughout the corner. But now he is starting to edge out a little bit, and that 15 of Matthew Barkhouse, he's looking to follow him through.
So Justin Fuller, your race leader, the 75, is edging away a little bit, but not quite enough to pull up in front of the 70 of Canova. Mike Alexander trying to move into second spot, and it looks like he's going to get it done this time. And Canova, a big wiggle coming off the corner. That's going to allow the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse to get to his inside.
Now he's going to take another look and almost crosses him over to go to the inside into turn 3, but backs out at the last moment as he realized that 15 was not going to give him any room on the bottom. So he's going to have to settle for 4th place. But while the 75 of Alexander was trying to get around Canova, that allowed Fuller to kind of open up a gap, since Alexander couldn't really run his fastest lap times while he was battling with another car. But now he's got the clear track. He can make the use of the entire width, but is he going to have enough speed to catch up to that 51 machine?
Justin Fuller right now enjoying a, well, not much of a gap, 0.7 seconds, but here at Lanier, 0.7 is pretty close.
It definitely is very close, but it seems like a mile here on this racetrack. But now that time is kind of coming down a little bit. Alexander was a little bit faster than Fuller on that last lap, but it's probably a bit easier to be spurred on to go faster when you've got the 15 and the 70 pretty much pushing you along, as he goes again just a little bit faster and starts to kind of close up that gap, that 51.
Al Smith Jr. in the 96 machine right now, our biggest mover in the race. He has gained 8 spots since the drop of the green flag, and the 18 of AJ Hamill getting out of shape. Hamill going to lose several positions.
Hamill does gather it back up though and is able to keep going on. Just behind him, Guillaume Fortin has been able to move himself back up into 14th, so he's up 10 positions essentially from when he spun earlier on. He's still trying to keep himself in this championship hunt. 25 points back. He's gonna have to have a good finish tonight, especially if Fuller continues his domination and wins this, because Fuller will open up his points lead even more if he does that.
We take a look down on this field from our Hanson starter shop blimp cam and get a good peek at the battle that the 13 is starting to pick with the 18. Ooh, as Guillaume gets loose off the corner, smacked the wall very hard. That 13 machine going to lose 3 spots before he is able to settle it back down.
Yeah, that was a very hard hit to that right side, but he came in pretty flat to the wall, so hopefully he didn't knock the steering geometry out on his car at any point, because we'll be able to keep going, but I think he's gonna have some damage and that will slow him down, so that might spell the end for the 13 of Guillaume Fortin.
Yeah, that was definitely a hard hit, and that 13 machine going to have to try and limp through the rest of this race if he is damaged. Right now, Justin Fuller in the 51 though, not doing a whole lot of limping. In fact, he is stretching his legs as he has got a half-second lead over Mike Alexander. Alexander has been reeling him in just a little bit, but catching here at Lanier is one thing, passing is something altogether different.
Yeah, passing will be very difficult here at this track. There is pretty much just that one lane on the inside and very short straightaways, so you have to try to maximize your exit, just immediately get off the corner fast and get to the inside of the car ahead of you. So Mike Alexander has closed up that gap, but is he going to be able to get around the 51 of Fuller? Oh, just behind them, the 11 of Hacker gets tagged. He goes for a little bit of a slide, but he's able to hold on to it. He's still loose, getting all sorts of out of shape through 3 and 4. I think he has overheated those tires and is struggling for grip.
Bill Martin in the 39, gonna squeeze underneath the 11 of Hacker. Here comes the 6 of Joe Schaefer. He's got his left side tires down below the yellow line as he tries to make his way past the 11. But Hacker says no sirs. He gets a great run off the corner and puts the 6 onto his back bumper.
Yeah, no yellow line rule here if it's paved, run on it, but the only thing is once you get below that yellow line, there really isn't that much banking, so it's useful to kind of dip 2 tires down there to help the car rotate, but getting all 4 down there is not going to help you in the slightest. So that 6 of Joe Schaefer Jr. just trying to get around Brian Hacker to keep himself going after Justin Fuller. He came in tonight just 7 points back, but now he's stuck in 7th while Justin Fuller leads this race for the time being, because Mike Alexander all over their rear bumper of the 51 now.
Yeah, Alexander really has closed the gap on the 51, but Fuller, one of those drivers, we've seen it time and time again. Once he gets out in front, he just kind of gets settled in and really becomes difficult to pass because he is just fast enough to keep everyone behind him, even when he's not necessarily the fastest car out there.
Problems for the 70 of Dylan Canova. He is losing tons of ground. He was in 4th place just over a lap ago. Now he's all the way back in 19th. He's staying way high up on the racetrack, so something very wrong with his car. I don't really understand what's wrong with him because he was running very strong. Now coming down into pit road, it seems.
Yeah, the 70
I don't see any damage on the car either.
Canova making his way onto pit road, and let's see if we can figure out what went wrong for Dylan Canova in that 70. The 39 of Bill Martin just goes right underneath him. Canova stayed to the high side, and then that was it. So the 70 maybe just having some engine troubles or something, as the yellow flag is going to come out. We got another yellow on the speedway. I think this one's going to involve the 18 of AJ Hamill.
Yeah, it looked to be a bit of a battle of the AJs as the 17 of AJ Rogers gets into the 18 of AJ Hamill, sends him for a spin off of turn 4 and leaves him parked on the start of the front straight. But pretty much no damage to that car, luckily, with really how small this track is. The racing is low speed, so even if you do get turned around or into the wall, you don't really get much damage as there isn't much force behind the impact.
So the yellow flag coming out once again. Had a long green flag run there. Drivers had a good opportunity to get into a good rhythm. And so one of those drivers who has really found a good rhythm is the 96 of Al Smith Jr. He is up 11 spots from where he qualified.
Yeah, we are now past the halfway point in this race. Only 110 laps here tonight, and it is going by quickly, but this next restart will shake things up a little bit. We saw Mike Alexander pretty much get up to the back bumper of Justin Fuller, but now he's going to have the opportunity to start right alongside him. If he gets a good jump, he might be able to... We saw Fuller earlier get underneath Canova and take over the race lead, but it could also go the other way. If he doesn't get a good start, he could be moving backwards fast because Matthew Barkos will be starting inside row 2.
Yeah, starting on the outside lane here, going to be very tricky for the 75 as we ride on board with the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse. And a great little gyro cam shot here as these drivers take a moment to catch their breath. Even here at Lanier, under yellow, we're turning 28-second lap times. Under green flag conditions, right around 13.5 to 14 seconds as the tires start to wear off.
And everyone getting up into position now, getting ready to go back to green flag racing and hopefully close out this race. Justin Fuller in control of the field immediately gets to a start, and that 15 of Barkhouse also read it perfectly. He's going to get to the inside of Mike Alexander. Alexander having to try to hold off on the outside, and there is going to be an immediate caution. And Matt Eddy, the 87, looks to be in the wall on the outside of turn 1.
Let's take a look at this one. Matt Eddy in the 87, ending up in the wall, and he is just going to start spinning coming off of turn number 4. That thing gets up on 2 wheels, and somehow he settles it down. What a wild ride that had to be for Matt Eddy in the 87. Let's take one more look at this one. Shifts the gear, and you can see the tires just never got a hold like he expected at the back end of this thing. Around he goes.
Yeah, but now with the restart now with the caution happening within 1 lap of the restart, that's going to make this next restart single file. That's really going to help Matthew Barkhouse because he got his nose ahead of Mike Alexander, so he gets second position, and now he's not going to be forced to start on that outside lane. He's going to be right behind the 51 of Justin Fuller.
Fuller in this 51 machine looking for his 5th win of the season. A great season for Fuller if he can pick that one up. But you know, you can have all these wins, still not a done deal that he's going to be the champion even if he wins here tonight.
Yeah, points are still going to be close between Joe Schaefer Jr. and Mike Alexander right behind him. One thing though is if Matthew Barkhouse continues this strong run, he's going to be pretty much in contention for the Best of the Rest award, as he was only 12 points back of Chris Stump. Stump's not here tonight, so he's going to be pretty much out of the running. So now it's essentially just between Barkhouse and Al Smith Jr., which only separates them by 9 points. So Matthew Barkhouse, if he stays up here, he'll be up into that position.
All right, lights are out on the Ford Mustang. Fuller in control of the field, and the green flag comes out. Mike Alexander in the 75, trying to stay tucked in tight to the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse. That is your top 3. Bill Martin in the 39, sitting in 4th, and Joe Schaefer rounds out your top 5 here in 6th place. Oh my gosh, in the 6th car.
Yeah, Matthew Barkhouse is up here with a bunch of chase drivers looking to play spoiler with these guys, trying to get himself into victory lane, but that is a daunting task with the drivers he has surrounding him. But Barkhouse has shown that he can be a competitive driver here in the Upstate Racing League, just hasn't been able to put it all together to go for a race win, but now he's in contention. As the laps tick away, he's getting much closer to that rear bumper.
Dylan Canova chiming in on YouTube chat. And we do have a confirmation it was something mechanical. Canova in the 70 machine lost his steering, and that is going to do it for him here tonight.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate for that 70 of Dylan Canova. Hasn't been able to make too many starts here this season, but he was looking very strong tonight, had been really controlling the lead, and then was still in a good position, just sitting in fourth. But unfortunate for him to encounter that mechanical issue. But we still have a battle raging on here on the racetrack, as this whole group up front just not spreading out that much. They are staying very close together, especially that 39 and 75 of Alexander and Bill Martin, because they are pretty much tied together at this point.
So Fuller in the 51, the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse, and the 75 of Mike Alexander, your top three. Bill Martin in the 39 right there as well. Then just a bit of a gap to Joe Schaefer, and then another small gap to the 11 of Brian Hacker. Trey Edson right now your highest running rookie in the 25 machine. He has Drew Krybeck in the 12 on his back bumper as well. So two rookies here inside the top 10. Make that three rookies as Gareth Gonder just moves in to 10th spot.
It gets around the 13 of Guillaume Fortin, still dealing with a little bit of damage from that earlier incident. Now looks like Gonder nearly had Al Smith Jr. coming off of turn 4. He looked to be much closer to the inside. Again, trying to take a look to the inside, and that will force the 96 of Smith to take evasive action, goes up the racetrack, and he is going to move himself up into 9th place.
So Gareth Gonder in the 81 making his way around Al Smith in the 96. And Al Smith has fallen back a little bit here, had moved his way up in 8th, now finds himself in 10th. You got to wonder, as we are working lap 82, did Al use up all of his tires to get up into the top 8, or get up in 8th and then fall back because he's got nothing left?
Well, things are heating up towards the front of the field. The 39 getting to the rear end of the 75, and just a couple laps ago, the 15 of Barkhouse getting to the rear of Justin Fuller, as this front group really all kind of battling for championship contention, with Barkhouse just playing the spoiler. Each driver trying to get themselves the most points they can here tonight going into our final championship week. So we'll see if Barkhouse is going to be able to get around that 51, but I'm sure Barkhouse isn't wanting to be too physical with the 51 or really any other of these drivers.
So as we have 26 laps to go, we ride on board with the 39 of Bill Martin, and you can see these cars are a little bit wiggly off the corner.
Yeah, the tires may have heat in them now, but they're starting to wear at this point, and if these guys have been spinning the tires earlier on, it's only going to get worse as they wear off those rear tires. You can actually seize a lot of these tires. Oh, as the 75 gets loose there in the middle of the corner, he's able to save it, and somehow the 39 and the 6 are able to check up and avoid Mike Alexander and able to make sure that doesn't get any worse. But that does open up a bit of a gap between Barkhouse and Alexander, so those guys are going to have to try to catch up to them, as we do not have much time left in this race, just over 20 laps to go.
22 laps to go to be precise, unless we have to use a green-white checkered. There is one available. As a 15 of Barkhouse. Big wiggle off of turn 2, smacked the wall a little bit. That did slow him up. Fuller in the 51, though, right there, able to hold on to the lead as he got a little close to the wall himself.
Yeah, at this point, it's all about trying to hold on to the race car, as it looks like this car is wanting to get all sorts of out of shape, and everyone just battling for position. A lot of these guys, as mentioned, are your chase contenders. Your top 3 are actually in pretty much one camera shot, as the 51, the 75, and the 6. All 3 are your top 3 chase contenders. So the 15 gets a little sideways on entry into turn 1 there, and he is starting to lose ground to that 51 and starting to get closer to the 75 of Alexander.
So Alexander in the 75, picking up the win last week, his first one as a driver here in the Upstate Racing League. sitting in third, quickly running out of time to go back to back as some of his fans were cheering him on to do. But Fuller getting that much closer to picking up his 5th win this season, and Matthew Barkhouse in the 15 trying to figure out if he's going to use the chrome horn, if he could just get a little bit closer.
Yeah, he really needs to close up the gap, and this lap traffic that's starting to catch up might maybe throw a wrench in the few plans here. We'll have to see how the field is going to deal with the 7 of Jeremy Carpenter. I'm sure Carpenter is going to try to move himself out of the way as much as possible, as yeah, he is going to start staying up high on the racetrack. But either way, it's not going to allow these drivers to use the full width of the track, especially if they come out onto the back straightaway. And here they are. It's going to be the 15 going to have to keep it in a little tight. He's not going to be able to get as high up and really get as much power down off the corner. And that's going to allow that 51 to get a bit more of a lead over him.
Fuller does have a bit of a gap now, opening up to about half a second with 13 laps to go as he comes off of turn number 4 now. 12 laps to go. This race really winding down. The Mighty Midget 161 Dan Dubuque Memorial here at Lanier, presented by Hanson's Starter Shop.
Yeah, and speaking of Hanson's Starter Shop, I'd like to thank them for making it possible for us to bring you this coverage. Hanson's Starter Shop rebuilds and repairs alternators, generators, and starters, as well as carrying new models. With 30 years of doing business in upstate New York and a longtime sponsor of the Upstate Racing League, we'd appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. And we're going to have to take a look at the 39 of Bill Martin. He's getting to the rear bumper of the 75, trying to move him out of the way. He had a peek to the inside coming down into turns 3 and 4 last time around, but nothing going there, and he's going to get a little loose off the corner that time using the apron to try to rotate. Going to over-rotate a little.
Yeah, that is one thing about Lanier. You can get down on that apron coming off of the corner, freeze that car up a little bit, especially if you have abused the right front, and it gives you a good little drive coming up off the corner.
Yeah, but you have to be careful doing it, as Bill Martin showed, is if you get a little bit too aggressive there, it will snap that rear end around. He had to save it, and luckily was able to hold on to it. And we won't have to deal with a caution just yet as this race keeps ticking down. Not much time left. Oh, Bill Martin gets shuffled up the racetrack. He's going to lose ground to the 6 of Joe Schaefer Jr., and that is going to be big for Schaefer Jr.'s chances in the championship, because he has to get as many points as possible to still be within the hold of Justin Fuller, who's continuing to lead this race.
Yeah, Fuller, Barkhouse, Alexander, now Schaefer, and Bill Martin, your top 5. 5 laps to go. Fuller out in up front has that half a second lead. Looks like about a car length and a half on the 15 machine. Lap traffic, that is the 77 of Jeremy Watkins. Watkins already has shown that he's willing to stay out of the way, so Fuller in the 51 looking to try and bring this one home as he comes off at turn number 4 with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, Fuller just has to keep focus and make sure he hits his marks here and doesn't get loose in coming off the corners. He's got a huge gap over that 15 machine, not going to be able to really catch that naturally. He's going to have to hope for a mistake from Justin Fuller.
Coming off of turn number 4, Justin Fuller in the 51 machine going to get the white flag. This one not going into overtime. Fuller now just has to focus on hitting his marks as he has half a lap left. And into 3 and 4, Justin Fuller comes off at turn number 4, picking up his 5th win of the season and putting a stamp on this season in the championship, as he is beginning to stake his claim as the championship winner.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed yet, though. We still have one more week, which is going to be a doubleheader. But however, Justin Fuller, a fantastic win here tonight. And with Barkhouse kind of being in between Alexander and Schaefer, that's going to really allow Fuller to open up that gap just a little bit more. And he's going to have some very good chances going into Myrtle Beach next week.
We take a look at our results. Justin Fuller, Matthew Barkhouse, Mike Alexander, Joe Schaefer, Bill Martin, your top 5. Then it's Brian Hacker, Trey Edson, Drew Krybeck, Gareth Goner, Al Smith Jr. going to finish in 10th spot. 11th going to Matt McLean, Brian Rogers 12th, 13th Justin Smith, 14th Andrew Plank, AJ Hamill in 15th, 16th goes to Speedy Brissett, Jimmy McIntyre in a 17th spot, 18th going to Jeremy Carpenter, Matt Eddy, Jeremy Watkins, Guillaume Fortin in 21st. A tough break for the 13. AJ Rogers also having a rough night. Dylan Canova, Jay Dubuque, and then Justin McDuff in 25th spot here tonight. So with all that being said, Kelly, let's see about kicking this off and talking to some of these guys.
Yeah, we're going to try to get our top 3 in here for a quick interview before we let them go, but everyone still has to kind of make their way over to the interview center because I think these guys are still celebrating.
That they are, but let's go ahead and see if maybe our race winner is ready for this one. Justin Fuller in the 51 machine in victory lane. Justin, congratulations on the 5th win of the season.
Thanks, Skylar. I mean, I'm definitely getting lucky with these qualifying draws and not being able to hot lap. So we'll take them as we can get them, but the system's definitely playing in my favor right now.
Well, the 51 machine was able to get out in front by a very good start on one of your restarts there. Walk us through getting to that race lead here tonight.
I don't know if you remember back to South Boston, but Dylan Canova and I restarted on the front row, middle of the race somewhere, and we made some contact. It was kind of like an internet thing. He kind of came up, I kind of came down a little bit to, get a good pinch on the restart. And that was the same person right there, so I was just giving him a lot of room because I didn't want something else to happen again. And I entered a little higher in 1, and I was just able to get a really good launch off turn 2. I knew how important it was to restart on the inside, and I was getting really good launches on those restarts to get myself down in behind Dylan. But I knew if I could get to the lead, that would, I could control the restarts. That'd be a big positive for me moving forward throughout the event. So to be able to get under him and get the lead, that was definitely the winning move, at least for me.
Well, man, you end up in victory lane here tonight, and an outstanding drive it was at Lanier. Some very quick laps, 110 laps done, around 13 and a half seconds for some of our best lap times here tonight. So do you feel a bit dizzy after a race here at Lanier?
I'm I'm right-handed, but when I drive, I'm left-handed dominant. So my right hand kind of just like guides the wheel. I used to race one-handed. So my left arm is got arm pump, I guess you would call it, kind of. I kind of get that sensation at this track, Richmond and Oxford. I kind of have that, especially after that. We had a decent run there to the finish. So this is the track that I had circled on the calendar, though, that I was least looking forward to. Normally, I don't put in any practice during the week. My practice is in the server when I get there. But we put in a little extra effort this week. Tuesday night, I ran about 150 laps and did 50 lap straight run, just to get a little bit better at this track because I am terrible here. So might have to do that at Myrtle Beach again, or Myrtle Beach, just to get that extra practice in, just like we did for tonight.
Well, more laps aren't going to hurt no matter what. But Justin Fuller, your race winner here tonight. Any other shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give?
Yeah, I want to thank Al Smith and all the admins here at the Upstate Racing League for all the work that they do. This is I say it all the time, great short track league to come race at. I know we got one more night to go, and this season has flown by, and I'm absolutely thoroughly enjoying it. I wish we had dynamic tracks to make the racing just a little bit better, but you can't beat the racing here. It's clean. For this track, you saw it. We had a lot of green flag racing. You're not going to find that in too many other leagues. Thank Scott Stenzel with Personal Comfort, better number, better price. If you're looking for a brand new bed, check them out for sure. Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thank Trey Edson for painting all my cars up and keeping me looking good out here every week. All my teammates at Aftermath Motorsports. Send a shout out to the Dubuque family. We all miss Dan. Dan, I have his tribute logo. It's on my C-pillar. It's there every week. So we miss him. He was always a staple at this league and enjoyed racing with him and talking with him. And we all miss him. All
right, that is Justin Fuller, your race winner. Once again, Justin, congratulations on getting it done out here tonight. Now, Kelly, I believe you've caught up with our second place finisher. That is none other than Matthew Barkhouse.
Yeah, caught up now with Matthew Barkhouse. Barkhouse, you were having quite a race tonight. Started all the way back in 7th. Were able to get up into 2nd. And what was it like to try to work your way through the field here at this small track?
It was honestly a lot of fun. There a few nights ago, another league I run, we ran 150 laps here, so I think that was a huge advantage coming in here, knowing how the tires are going to wear and be able to pick our way through. But luckily, my teammate and brother there, Mike, he was in front. We kept on starting on the bottom, and we were able to race each other clean and just kind of pick our way till we got to the front.
And just right before the end of this race, we had a couple of restarts where you started on the inside of the second row, and then right after you kind of got lucky, got a single file restart. But really, what was the difference between attacking those two different types of restarts?
Yeah, I definitely was excited to start on the top. I'm happy that that came out. My biggest thing when I started on the top is just try to not lose too much. I felt like I had the speed to run the top 3 cars tonight. I think I might have been, depending on whether it was me or Mike or Justin, any of us in the top 5, I think whoever would have been out front would have won the race, and Justin was able to capitalize there, having that good starting position. But definitely was nerve-wracking at times starting on the top, but I managed to hold on to a 2nd place finish.
Well, your 2nd place finish tonight, that should move you up into the best of the rest position. And that will be 11th place, just outside of the chase. And how much is that award kind of motivating you to close out the season strong?
Yeah, in all honesty, I've been running this my 2nd season with these guys, and I definitely had a bit of a rush center there. Figured I had more speed than what I had for racing skill there, so I had to kind of learn how to pass and finish up front still. Moving forward, I'm just trying to get that first win. I'm really not too worried about points and stuff. I'm running 11th in points is at the top of the priority list. Top of the priority is definitely try to get a win before the season's over.
Well, next week we'll be going on to Myrtle Beach Speedway, and do you think you maybe have a chance at getting your first win there?
No idea. I've never been a huge fan of that track, but anything can happen. And a lot of this comes down to where you start in these races. All these guys are extremely fast, and it's made me a much better driver joining this league. So depending on where you start in the race and how things shake out, there's definitely opportunity there for it, as long as you have that lone car speed if you get the clean air.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming out and talking to us. Before we let you go, though, who would you like to thank for your 2nd place finish tonight?
Sander Sign Group. He's the one that paints all of mine and Mike's cars. He does a lot of that fun stuff. He does real race cars and stuff. We also got Celtic Air Services. He does helicopter tours and charter flights. R&R Kinsman's up here, and McDonald Automotive. And you guys for putting on these broadcasts for our family and friends to watch. You guys do a great job, and can't wait to finish out the year and come back next year and do it all over again.
All right, well, that was driver of the number 15, our 2nd place finisher tonight. That was Matthew Barkhouse. Good, strong finish from him, and we'll wish him luck going into Myrtle Beach. But now I believe KR's caught up with our 3rd place finisher.
I have caught up with our 3rd place finisher. That is the driver in the 75, Mike Alexander. Mike, you got yours on, my friend?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Man, I'll tell you what, that 75 machine picked up the first win last week, and here you are with a 3rd place finish tonight. Solid season shaping up for you here in this chase playoff deal, and you find yourself right there in the thick of things.
Yeah, I think I'm coming on at the right time to make a little push for it. Justin's going to be hard to beat. He's got a little bit of a lead there now, especially winning tonight, lose a little more to him. But, I'm just happy to be in the chase this year. I didn't make it last year and had a lot of bad luck. And I'm just happy to be here and, clicking off podiums. This is a super fast league, and I'm just tickled pink to even be here.
Well, the 75 machine picking up another podium finish here tonight. You have had now 7 top 5s in this season and the 1 win. So what do you think has been the biggest thing that has set this season off for you?
I think last year I had the speed. I just had no luck. And this year, luck has just been on my side for, the whole year, really. I haven't really had any disastrous races. So, you know, I think the biggest thing is just luck turned around for me.
All right, man. Well, a solid run here tonight. Had several fans cheering for you on the YouTube chats, but third place finish kept them all happy here tonight.
Yeah, that's what we do it for, you know, the fans. I like to put a show on, or try to anyway, as much as I can.
All right, man. Well, any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give for this third place finish?
Just shout out to Rev Racing, me and my brother Matt. There's a bunch of guys behind the scenes that are on the team that don't run here. You know, they might run next year. Mike Rhino, Keith Mack, Ronnie McKay. We got a couple development drivers, Joey Stiers and Ryan Twynham. He'd get mad at me if I said Twynham, so he wants you to know that his name is Twynham.
Okay.
I'm gonna write that down for next season.
Mom and Dad, Sam, Grampy, you guys for doing this, and Al, and yeah, that's it.
All right, man. Well, the 75 once again on another podium finish. Nice job here tonight.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Well, Kelly, Mike Alexander got it done for third spot. Justin Fuller won his 5th race of the season. We have one race left. Well, 1 week left, a doubleheader next Thursday night at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, and as dominant as Fuller has been this season, I wouldn't say that he's got this championship locked up just yet. I mean, he'll open up a bit of a gap over Joe Schaefer and Mike Alexander, but it's a gap that can easily be reached in 2 races. And all it really takes is Fuller just having one bad race, and it could fall into the hands of Schaefer Jr. and Mike Alexander. But I think we are pretty much down to a 3-car battle after everything's all said and done. I think pretty much everyone else will be mathematically eliminated, essentially.
All right, so we're going to let the league admins do all the final tally and get back to us and let us know who all did get eliminated after tonight. We do have the double header coming up February 4th, so make sure you guys tune in for that one. So until then, and Kelly, you do such a great job at it. Why don't you sign us out?
Well, on behalf of everyone here at Turn 3 Racing Network and the Upstate Racing League, we'd like to thank you so much for coming out and joining us. And tonight, we'd like to pay, again, a little bit of tribute to our missing man. And we'd like to say that we miss you, Dan, and we wish you were here tonight. Have a good night.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Eddie's Meat Market. Nobody beats Eddie's Meat. Hanson Starter Shop. Racing Designs. CEG Dealer School. Train, play, consult.